It's Transformers96 here with another video review. This time I'm going to be talking about the Elite Series Rogue One figures from Star Wars. So at the end of August, just about every toy company participating in making Rogue One figures did release either a full lineup of their figures that they're going to be coming out with, or there was just some sort of preview image and things like that. So I will be making 4 videos talking about 4 different companies making Rogue One figures that showed Rogue One figures yesterday. So in this video I'm going to be talking about the Elite Series made by the Disney Store. The Elite Series is a series that either you love or you hate. I've seen plenty of people that just can't stand these things and don't want them, just stick with the Black Series, and then I've seen plenty of people just love the Elite Series and think they're so unique and just collect them almost over the Black Series. For me personally, I fall more into the latter, you know. I do like the Elite Series a lot. I know that their sculpts are definitely lacking, and usually their paint's quite good, but sometimes it's lacking, and the articulation is just good, you know. It's a solid amount of articulation, however it's not as good as the Black Series. And then the screw holes, they don't bother me at all. I know that a lot of people have a lot of problems with that. They don't personally bother me. I've never been bothered by the screw holes. And then their lack of stability, the fact that they fall, is something that I haven't experienced. The Grievous figure, yes, I had problems with him. However, with all of my other figures, for a solid year, I displayed them all standing, not packed together so that they weren't supporting each other, just standing individually without bases, and I never had any of them fall. BB-8 was the only one that would sometimes roll over because he's, you know, a little outweighted, but other than that, I never had problems with that, although I heard a lot of people complaining about that. So you know, that's just to give you my my opinions on the Elite Series. I enjoy collecting them a lot. I have a lot of fun with them, and I just love the die-cast factor of them. So I'm pretty big into the Elite Series. I was hoping that they'd do Rogue One figures. They are, and they're doing more than I could have ever expected, actually. So very excited for this. Let's get talking about them. So here we have, now, you know, Rogue One, it's obviously months from being out. My my vocabulary from Rogue One is limited at the moment. I know some names, I know some planet names, things like that, but some names I just don't know. This being one of them. Let's see, I think Baze. Yeah, Baze is his name. He looks like a really cool figure. I like his look a lot. I think the suit looks quite weathered really nicely, and he has one of the best face sculpts of the figures that they've shown, in my opinion. And the gun that he comes with is really cool looking, and it attaches to a backpack, which will come separated in package. So that does look quite nice. Unfortunately, without a swivel at the bicep or elbow, he's not going to be able to hold the weapon properly with 2 hands. Like, this is the best you can do, you know, having him, like, you know, holding it just barely, you know, like this. You'll be able to hold it, have him hold it in 1 hand just fine, but 2, it'll kind of look like this, where he's basically just supporting it. But overall, this figure looks quite nice, I must say. This would be the weakest one, in my opinion, with Rook, yeah. He is a pilot for the Empire, who does, and you know, it's kind of just like a day job for him, as he describes it. So character-wise, neat little backstory. Figure-wise, doesn't look fantastic. I think the weathering looks pretty good in it, but I think that his waist is way too high. Like, I think that the joint for his waist should be a bit lower. I think that would have looked better. And then his face sculpt, I think that he has the weakest face sculpt of the bunch. I'm hoping that that's just the production images, that it won't look that bad. However, the Elite Series with human figures, they don't usually have the best face sculpts. Usually they have some nice detail paint-wise, but the sculpt itself is a little lacking in some areas. So this definitely looks like the weakest of the bunch. He does come with this. I would imagine this is to, like, fuel planes, maybe, because he's a pilot, so maybe this is to, like, fuel his own plane. I'm not quite sure, or maybe that's a weapon. I doubt it, though. I think that's more of an actual, like, a useful thing, like, for his job. Then we have Cassian. He looks quite cool. He'll be basically the second main character of the movie. You know, he's going to be the one that's Jyn Erso's partner, basically. He looks quite nice. I actually do like the sculpt quite a bit. I think that it looks pretty decent. Face sculpt is decent, nothing fantastic, but it's not terrible. And I think that, you know, he looks like a pretty solid figure there. His left hand does seem to be Poe Dameron's hand. That kind of open hand we got once with the Elite Series with Poe Dameron, and for the Rogue One figures, it looks like they're reusing it quite a bit. It's an awkward hand, you know. Like, it worked well to hold Poe Dameron's helmet. However, for, like, these figures just to be standing, it's too wide open, you know. It doesn't look like a relaxed palm. bomb, which I think that that would have been better for these figures. Then we have Donnie Yen's character. I'm not aware of his name in the movie, and I think it's quite hard to pronounce, but Donnie Yen is, of course, the actor who's playing him. I'm very excited about this character in the movie, and you know, he's going to be one of the most anticipated figures for me. I'm definitely very much looking forward to this. I think the face sculpt is quite decent, although hopefully it's just a picture, but his face sculpt, his skin tone looks different than his neck, which does look quite odd. I'm thinking that that's just probably the picture, though. I hope and I don't think that that's going to be the case once you actually get the final product. But he looks quite nice. I think that all these robe areas, these clothing look quite good, you know, similar to Kylo Ren, where he had the kind of skirt areas that will be rubber, like on the actual metal figure. So I think that looks quite nice. His gun looks really good, really well detailed, and I like the black, silver, and gold color scheme to it. And again, he has the same open hand that Poe Dameron had, so they're reusing it again, basically. But this is going to be one of my most anticipated figures. Then we have the Death Trooper. The Death Trooper looks decent, you know, he looks a little thin, although there are thin Death Troopers in this movie, but he looks really quite thin, except for his torso. Like, his torso looks pretty bulky, but then his arms and legs just look super thin. I think that he's one of the weakest ones of this series. And then the green that they chose on the eye lens, I think looks pretty cool. But on the bottom pieces of the chin, the green, it's like a lime green almost. It doesn't look great. I would have preferred a different shade of green for that. And then obviously without the swivel at the bicep or elbow, he won't be able to hold the gun with two hands, which is super disappointing. This is something that I was hoping that before Rogue One maybe they change, because the articulation is fine, except for the fact that there's no swivel, so he can't bring his arms together to hold weapons with two hands. That's the biggest issue with the Elite Series articulation, and the one that I wish that they would fix. Then we have Jyn Erso, main character of the movie. The figure looks quite good. Face sculpt is decent, you know, kind of on the same scale as Cassian. You know, it's all right. You know, it's nothing terrible though. But the figure itself looks pretty decent. Although I think that her waist cut is so far up, it looks really odd. It looks like she just pulled her pants up so far. Now, I will say, looking at images from the movie, she does have this type of look where the shirt, you know, the shirt, where the shirt meets the pants, basically, or whatever this area is, it is quite high. However, it doesn't even seem to be that high in the movie, so I wish that was moved down just a bit, you know. I think that would have been nice. But she looks quite nice, and she comes with a pretty decent amount of accessories. I'll talk about that when I show the packaging. Then we have K2SO. This is the character that I'm super excited for. I think that he obviously lends himself the most to the Elite series, being that he's a metal character, and this series, what makes it unique and, you know, what makes it a series is the fact that they are metal figures, you know. The only reason that they can compete with the Black Series, because obviously on every other category they're not quite as good as the Black Series. However, the metal is what makes them unique and is what draws people to them. I think that he looks great. I think articulation is going to be good for him. Like, I don't need a swivel for K2SO, you know, his character look, and, you know, I think that his articulation isn't going to really lend itself to that. In the movie, he obviously doesn't need to hold a gun with two hands or anything, so I think the articulation is going to be fine on him. He looks like a decent figure. He looks like a great figure, actually. The only issues I have with his overall look is the fact that his feet look very big. Now, it's not, like, I think that looks cool, you know, I'm fine with that. However, I think that in the movie, his feet aren't quite that big, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think I have the feeling that this guy isn't going to be in scale with the rest of the Elite series. I don't think that he's going to be tall enough. And, you know, like, I had a reason for this thinking beforehand. However, you know, maybe I think that I took a look at this base and, like, compared it to the other bases. I'm not quite sure, but I feel like he's going to be slightly too short. Now, this is just an assumption by me, but you know, the Elite series has some issues with scale. Like C-3PO and R2-D2, or sorry, C-3PO and Darth Maul, they are too short to fit in with the rest of the Elite series. So I think that there's going to be a similar effect with this guy. However, I'm hoping that that's not the case. But he looks fantastic. He's the one that I'm most looking forward to. And then they added one more figure that they showed today, which is this, let's see, what's his name? C2B5. I'm unaware of his participation in the movie. He might just be a background droid, or maybe he'll actually do something in the movie. I'm not quite sure. I would imagine that he works, or he's on the Death Star, maybe? I don't know. This is one that's just a repaint of R2, of course, and it's going to be the one that I skip. But other than that, I do plan to get them all. Let's see here. That's for a separate video. All right. There's the entire series all put together. As you can see, you know, it is a really nice assortment. They have 8 figures in total. One of them is a repaint. All of the others are completely new sculpts, which is really awesome. I'm very excited for this. I really, you know, from them, once they showed Jyn Erso the night before, you know, I was really excited because I was worried that they weren't going to make any of these figures. But when they showed Jyn Erso, I was very excited, and I thought, you know, I was hoping for K2SO and a Death Trooper, but I didn't really expect much more other than that. As you can see, they not only gave us those, but they gave us a slew of other characters. They gave us Jyn Erso's entire team. Her team from Donnie Yen here to Rook, is it? Or sorry, no, from K2SO. All of these characters are her like her alliance that she forms. There is another picture from a concept art book of Rogue One, which does show her with 2 alien characters, which we see briefly in the trailers and the behind the scenes footage and things like that. However, in the movie, I haven't quite seen them fight with her, so I'm not quite sure if they're part of her alliance or her team or whatnot. But I know that these are the main members of her team, so we are going to get them in Elite Series form, and they are the first and only series to be making a lot of these figures so far. The only ones that other companies are making is the Death Trooper, Jyn Erso, Cassian, and K2SO. But the other 4 characters, this is the only scale in which you can get them at the moment. I'm sure that Black Series will make all of these later on or things like that, but at the moment, this is the only scale where you're going to be able to get them all. As for how they look in packaging, there have been 3 official images of them in packaging released, and the rest we haven't seen in package on the Today Show, I believe it is. I believe it's the Today Show. I'm not quite sure, but on one of the talk shows, they, you know, the Disney Store and Hasbro sent them products to kind of, you know, talk about, and they did have a couple in package Elite Series figures, like Donnie Yen's character, and Baze was there as well. And let me think. I think maybe Cassian was in package there. However, we still haven't seen K2SO in package yet, and there's no official images for those other characters. So here's the official images. The packaging, I'm a big fan of the packaging for the Elite Series. I did buy 2 of most of the figures from The Force Awakens and from the previous trilogy. And just because I like the way that the packaging looks so much. This is the same design, however it does sport a different color scheme. It now has a blue background, and the text and everything and the outlining of the box is now outlined in a metallic blue, when before it was a red background with a metallic red outlining it. So I do love the contrast. I think that the blue fits the beach theme of Rogue One a lot better, and I think that it's kind of nice that they did change it up. I said for this series I wasn't going to buy 2 of each of the figures, and I'm still not going to do that. However, I do think that I'll buy 2 of some of the figures. I think like K2SO I want 2 of, and the rest, you know, maybe 2 of Donnie Yen's character or Jyn Erso, something like that. And then the others, if I can get a second one on a really good deal, like in months from now, you know, then maybe I'll do it. However, for the most part, I'm just going to buy 1 of each of these and just try to get duplicates on sale, basically. And then as you can see, Jyn Erso, she does come with a rifle along with that pistol, as well as the baton. We do see her use that baton in the movie, so it is nice that she does include it. And yeah, really do like the packaging, and I think that the line in general just looks really nice. Now, as far as how you can get them, they're going to be fully available on Force Friday. However, there are multiple sites reporting that Jyn Erso in particular will go on pre-order on the 2nd, which is tomorrow. So I'm not quite sure, because like on let's see, on the Disney Store's website, they do have these put up at the moment. They're not for sale, though, or anything like that. And when you click on, like, K2SO, if it'll ever come up, there we go, it says that all new collection launches on September 30th. Then you click on Jyn Erso, and she says the same thing. So I'm not quite sure if she is actually going to go on pre-order tomorrow, or if that was just something that sites were misinforming people of, or they just assumed that it would be the Elite Series when, you know, Disney Store was actually talking about something else. I'm not quite sure. We'll have to see. We'll wait till tomorrow, but possibly you'll have the chance to pre-order Jyn Erso, if not the entire series, tomorrow in advance. So there you go, that's my video review. I will be making a separate video talking about what I'm going to get on Force Friday, and therefore I'll talk about what I plan to do as to how to get these, basically. But there you go, that's my video review talking about the Elite Series. Let me know what you guys think of it, and thanks so much for watching.